I love my Nintendo Switch. I can play it on the TV or on the go, and I have so many games to choose from. I'm so happy Nintendo makes the best consoles. Oh god. No! You control your aircraft with the control stick. No shit, Sherlock. And shoot your ship's blasters with the B button. Real talk, those are basically the only two controls that you really need to beat this game, which I think is a good thing and a bad thing. I love the simplicity of the controls to allow it to be accessible to gamers of pretty much any skill level. But come on, 2 buttons can beat the game? How many good games do you know that are like that? Oh, at least they did give us online races, which allowed for up to 12 racers, which is kind of a cool idea. And they did let you taunt other racers by speaking into the Kinect microphone. Fuck you! I don't think they realized what they did. Have you ever really thought about all the different major Nintendo franchises and how weird they really are? Plumbers who save a princess from a giant lizard? 10-year-olds who force their pets to fight until they pass out? A pink puffball that eats living creatures but we don't care because he's fucking adorable? Those series are all weird as hell, but shockingly, they aren't the weirdest concept that Nintendo has ever come up with. And remember, we're only talking about major titles because otherwise we'd be getting into some really weird shit. What's more ridiculous than talking humanoid animals flying spaceships with foxes trying to fuck? Yep, we're talking Star Fox today. The Paper Mario series has nothing to do with the quote-unquote normal Mario games. There's no emphasis on platforming, but instead the games have a turn-based battling style. The Mario and Luigi series of games also has this gameplay, but I don't know why, but I personally just prefer the Paper Mario games. It probably has to do with the different companions you get, honestly. Sorry Luigi, but you're just not as interesting as a fish that flops around, probably can't breathe, and actually how the f*** is Sushi alive? Paper Mario stands out from the rest of the Mario games for the variety of characters that are nowhere to be seen in any other series. Boring enemies like Goombas actually have personalities, and there's actually character development with an actual story. The number of times I just said actually should give you a good idea of how rare this is in Mario. When do you ever get to talk to Boos? Or Koopas? Or Fish? Again, how the f*** is Sushi alive? Look at this and tell me if it was on the GameCube with a regular controller, would it have sold nearly as well? The game probably would have turned into tons of button mashing and control stick spinning, and we don't need that. We have Mario Party 1 if we want to tear holes in our hands. This was the closest many people will ever get to participating in events like this. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't know many people who would go skydiving with no parachutes while simultaneously try to attack other people and avoid obstacles. I mean not none, just not many. And this game can even get you a pretty good workout. I like to think I'm in pretty good shape, and even I was getting tired swinging my arms like a madman. All of the best companies and developers changed with the times, but there was one company that stood out from the rest, and that was none other than Rare. For those of you who are too young, you may be surprised to know that Rare used to be at the top of the video game world. They've put out some mediocre titles in the past 10 years to say the least, but we don't talk about those. They started developing games all the way back in the mid to late 1980s with amazing titles like Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Sesame Street. Wait, why were they so popular again? Like every company, they had many titles that ranged from amazing to what the f***. The game still focused on fast-paced platforming, but now in a third-person perspective. This was also when Sonic began to extensively use voice acting in their games.
He transformed again!
It still hasn't gotten much better. There were also a few more Pokemon that were maybe leaked online, but they were a lot less impressive, and the last 2 leaked were Wingull and Whismur, which makes me think these leaks might be fake because nobody would buy a game if they knew about those fuckers. Now, Generation 4 is really where the online leaks really began, but before we look at some real leaks that came out to be true, let's take a look at everybody's favorite bullshit blurry Photoshop images posted on 4chan. Did anyone really believe this? This one just creeps me out. Honestly, I wish this one was real because this would have been on my Pokemon White team instantly the first time I played it. This is great. What the fuck? Banjo remained dormant for a while with no new information, but then, out of nowhere, we got a trailer for a brand new Banjo-Kazooie game. It was beautiful. It was HD. Banjo did look like a sex offender, but who gives a shit? Banjo is back. Level Finale hosts the final boss of the game, which they brought over from the best major boss from that entire game, Fossil Stalord. Oh man, he had such a unique and incredible boss fight in Twilight Princess. I can't wait to see what kind of fight he had. You just shoot his hands? Okay, like that's nothing we've ever seen before. Nintendo. No, sorry, Miyamoto. I'm speaking specifically to you here. Of all the things you could have done for the final boss, you used the most overused and cliche boss fight ever for a shooting game. This is something you do for like the first boss of the game to get you used to the controls, not the goddamn final boss. And also, why did you have to use the coolest looking boss from Twilight Princess for this shit? Why not someone like Fyrus who no one even cares about? Probably like half the people watching this didn't even know who Fyrus was until I just showed a picture of him. Nintendo has a reputation of having some of the most iconic video game heroes of all time across all of their different series. They gave us the likes of Mario, Link, Donkey Kong, and Star Fox. But all these protagonists do have something really in common that doesn't really make them stand out that much. Can you see what it is? They all have dicks. Every single one of them is fun to use, even when they make no sense. I don't know how screaming at the top of your lungs kills someone, but it's Kirby, so I'll accept it. Kirby then started to combine abilities, and honestly, this is when Kirby peaked because this is the greatest thing ever. I mean, you can become an explosive snowman. There's no getting better than this. I take it back. This is when Kirby peaked. Have you ever been playing a game and just thought to yourself, man, I just wish I was really playing with a non-ergonomic controller to help me play with tons of gimmicks? No, not you. Make the controller even more gimmicky and even less comfortable. Oh, thank God. Super Mario Bros. Is a game that nearly everyone knows, even if they don't care at all about video games. He changed the entire gaming industry with some of the most simple game mechanics. It seems so basic now, but back in the 80s, people played these games like, man, this is pretty fun, but I just wish you could jump. Holy shit! Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I have never once read the actual story of this game in the 20 years that this game has been out. I'm old. Well, I'm gonna give it a shot for this video because I think it's probably important to at least mention what it is. So 6 months have passed since the Death Star was destroyed at the end of A New Hope. Yeah, that lasted long. The war between the Rebels and the Empire is still going on, so Luke forms the legend, wait for it, Derry Rogue Squadron. It's basically just a group of skilled pilots that are now fighting the Empire. Wow, if that wasn't the vaguest and most pointless exposition in any Star Wars product, never mind. After the pointless text scroll, the game just throws you into action, which is just how I like it. Like I said, each stage has its own mission that you need to complete in order to progress. What's the mission for the first stage? I don't fucking know. Just blow shit up. And the power-ups are so much better than anything Mario had. Sure, throwing fireballs is cool, I guess, but can Mario turn into a fucking helicopter? I rest my case. Sonic the Hedgehog is the fastest thing alive. At least that's what his intro song tells me, and if I can't trust that, then who can I trust? But if you had to take one guess as to how this blue blur were to race against his friends, you'd probably immediately think of Sonic R. It makes the most sense. If Sonic can run so fast, of course he would race on foot. I mean, I can't imagine him racing in cars or something. Oh, fuck. As always, Sega gave us some strangely high-quality cutscenes throughout this game to tell the story that nobody cares about. Like, who the f*** are you? Merlina, this wizard here, is running away from this enemy who in all honesty looks dope as hell. Merlina calls for help and Sonic falls from the sky in the most plot-oriented entrance I have ever seen. And thank God Sonic is fast, otherwise you would have made him drop his chili dogs, and that's unforgivable. Damn, Sonic, what that mouth do? This game? Oh, this game. Your first mistake was putting this game on the 3DS. I get that the alternative was probably worse, but Paper Mario just screams home console to me. Even if you've never played this game, I'm willing to bet you have heard from friends or just anybody that this game is not good. Which is kind of weird because several websites gave it pretty good scores before the game was released. This is why you should never trust IGN. This game is also a perfect example of why you should never trust early screenshots, as many early shots make it appear as if they were going to return to the original formula. But then we got the first real trailer and that was thrown out the fucking window. Some are more effective than others and some last for a much longer time. Like Bomb you can only use once, while Sword can be used for a pretty long time before you lose it. Pressing A will let you perform long-range attacks with some abilities, but most don't need any buttons and will just attack anything that comes near you. It might sound like that takes all the skill out of it, and you'd be right, but they are still so much fun to use. They decided that those ideas were stale and too similar to previous games and had no real appeal or impact. Yeah, because games with similar gameplays have never been successful before, right? So because of those reasons, they decided to move in a completely different direction. Well, this looks nice. A great HD remake of Spiral Mountain with a classic calming theme in the background? How could they possibly screw this up? Oh, they got fat. I've heard of the Freshman 15, but this is more like the Senior 79. This game takes place 8 years after the events of Banjo-Tooie when Banjo and Kazooie took down Gruntilda for good. And since then, apparently they haven't found anything else to do and just sit around, play video games, and eat pizza all day. Not a bad life, but it'd be better if they didn't just shove it down your throat every 10 seconds. I get it, you should have ordered a small pizza. Maybe if you didn't order it at all, you wouldn't be so fat, you lazy fuck. Banjo and Kazooie eventually run into Gruntilda, who somehow is still alive? I guess you know what they say. When you kill someone by knocking them off a cliff, drop a boulder on top of them, then blow them up inside a tank to the point where their body is no longer visible, you better make sure they're dead. Well, who cares, because now it's time to finally face off for the third time. Who the hell do you think you are, and how did you pause the game? If you want to get technical, Banjo did make his first ever appearance as a racer in Diddy Kong Racing 1 year prior, but we're not talking about that, so who gives a fuck? Sorry, Diddy Kong Racing. I still love you. The game was also re-released on the Xbox 360 in 2008, but the only real difference is that it's in HD. Just watching the intro to Banjo-Kazooie gives me nostalgic flashbacks to playing this game as a kid. It is easily one of the best intros to any game I've ever played. It's nothing too dramatic or story heavy, and it's just plain fun and shows what this game is all about. Just compare it to Mario 64. Here we just have a logo and a dark and boring background, while here we got my dude Mumbo jamming on like 8 different instruments in a full-on jamboree. Even the file select screen has so much more personality than any game of its time. Normally you just get a little menu, which is perfectly fine because, let's be real, nobody expects a file select screen to be anything crazy. But Banjo-Kazooie says fuck that and has Banjo making soup and playing a goddamn Game Boy. That sounded a lot more exciting in my head. I could go on and on about how incredible the N64 was, but I'm sure you all know that. Nintendo knew how to improve and make each console better than the last. And, unpopular opinion, the GameCube is better than a Nintendo 64. Hear me out. And it deserves representation with its main character, Steve. Also, yes, his name is actually Steve. I've heard of people thinking that was a joke, but no, it's actually the real deal. I bet Mojang, or however the hell you pronounce it, just made the whole game before thinking about naming him and then just picked a name out of the hat and went with it. Around 2 months ago, the newest Pokemon titles, Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, were revealed to be coming to the Nintendo Switch later this year. Everyone has been super hyped and been speculating about what we could maybe expect from these games. And you know what that means. God damn it. Video game sequels are some of the most anticipated and highly requested types of games to ever exist. Everyone will play a game and have so much fun, and all of a sudden rumors will pop up of a sequel game in development. I can't tell you the number of times I played NBA Live 05 and thought to myself, man, I really hope they follow this up with a new game. Holy shit! This game also has a bunch of cheat codes that you can enter. It wouldn't be a 90s video game without some cheat codes, am I right? These let you access any level in the game as well as a few extra aircrafts. I mentioned the Millennium Falcon and TIE Fighter, but there are 2 more aircrafts and 1 random other thing you can play as. That random other one is an ATST, which is only playable in a demonstration stage that can only be played through a passcode. And guess what the passcode is? No, seriously, it's so stupid you probably could guess it. Chicken? What the fuck? It almost feels like a simulation where you just have really minimal input. What made the old game so good was the fast-paced platforming that required great controls. This is just swinging the Wii remote like a dumbass. The stages have a great variety and don't feel repetitive at all. Everything looks great, except for this shit, but everything else looks great. The difficulty makes sure that you don't just speed through the game too quickly, and the secrets keep you coming back. I mean, who doesn't want to walk around in a stage with nothing to do? Yeah. This is one of, if not the best Star Wars video game ever. There are a few others that you could make a pretty good argument for, but personally I will always choose Rogue Squadron. It encapsulates everything that Star Wars is meant to be with great references to the original movies. And luckily, it came out just early enough that the prequels had no influence. Shit. The bosses in this game are also just incredibly annoying. Normal attacks do jack shit to them, and they usually need to be defeated with a specific thing sticker. These are basically just more powerful stickers, but the problem is you never know what will work against each boss, so it's basically just trial and error. Color Splash fixed this by giving you hints as to what could help against the bosses, but Sticker Star says, fuck you, you're on your own. Grunty wants to be the most beautiful woman in all the land, which, really, Grunty? I think Bottles is a more beautiful woman than you. She learns that Banjo's sister Tootie is cuter than her, so she heads out to steal her looks. Yeah, this is a weird-ass premise when you really think about it. Grunty, an old, thick-ass witch, wants to be as cute as Tootie, a little kid? Wait, how old do bears live until? 20 to 30 years, but most die earlier than that? So Tootie is what, like 2 to 3 years old, probably at the oldest? Grunty, you're fucked up. Although, to be fair, I don't know if that's any weirder than a giant lizard dragon trying to give a human princess his giant personality! Mario, Peach, and Toadsworth are going on a vacation to Isle Delfino for some reason that is never really explained. Peach sees a shadow of Mario multiple times, but Toadsworth and Mario ignore her because they are dreaming of eating like the fat asses they are. The runway where their plane lands is covered in
Icky paint like goop.
And Mario tries to find a solution. Mario finds Flood, the fucking liquid-using device. Dude, who he teams up with to clean the runway. After Mario fixes their problem, you'd think the inhabitants would be pretty appreciative, right? Nope, they somehow throw him in jail for looking kind of similar to a criminal on the island even though they literally are different colors. Not like white skin versus black skin, but like human versus blue paint. Are Piantas colorblind? Because that's the only reason this would make any sense. Mario is tasked to clean up the island and almost immediately Peach is kidnapped because it wouldn't be a Mario game without that. Peach is saved and then like an hour later she's kidnapped again and taken to Pinna Park where we find out that Shadow Mario is actually Bowser Jr. Also, apparently he's Peach's son? Maybe it's just me, but something is wrong with this equation. He runs away with Peach and Mario tracks him down to Corona Mountain where Bowser is taking a bath. This game just gets weirder and weirder by the second. Mario defeats Bowser by flipping a hot tub and kills Flood. That's too bad. The island starts celebrating, Bowser tells Bowser Jr. Peach isn't his mom, and yeah, no shit. And Flood comes back to life. Oh yeah, I was worried. Great. There were some strange titles, but the good definitely outweighed the bad. And the graphics took a huge leap in improvement in my opinion. No more rigid edges and everything was smoothed out. Holy shit, is that a perfect circle? As what seems like 2000 Sonic tradition, the game opens with a hype lyrical song with one of the best intros I have ever seen. I feel ready to run through a fucking brick wall after that. But then the title screen happens and all the hype just goes away. What the fuck? Now, I'm not someone who hates on Sword and Shield. In fact, I think the games look beautiful and could be some of the best in the series, even if there is no national dex. Also, if you're still upset about that, stop being such a negative Nancy and look at the positives, like how Doug Dimmadome is officially a Pokemon. How could you not love this game? This was unheard of at the time for a complete badass protagonist to be a woman instead of a fat plumber or elf boy. Everyone remembers the first time they learned Samus was a woman, especially if you got the best ending and saw her in her bikini. Man, I could disappoint her so hard. Koro Koro leaks began to start floating around the internet around this time, and these give us tons of new information. New Pokemon, the new region, and new characters. This was incredibly cool for Diamond and Pearl because so many Pokemon got new evolutions, which was so hyped for kids like me growing up. And we didn't have to worry about any fake Koro Koro leaks either. That lasted for about 5 seconds. You normally think of Sonic being in some bright area like Green Hill Zone, but this game takes place in the world of Camelot. Not that one. She's not your average character who wants to kidnap some princess and rule the world like every Mario and Zelda game ever invented. All she wants is to be beautiful, and can we really blame her for that? Sure, she might look like Shrek's genital warts, but that's besides the point. She even rhymes, and who doesn't love a good nursery rhyme? This close to having bitch in a Nintendo game. In Sticker Star, we have Kirsty, who's not the worst character, but besides her and like 2 other characters in the game, everyone feels like a generic NPC that's only there to fill space. And the stickers are lame and were the worst idea that they ever had. Why couldn't they go back to the original battling? Why can't Sticker Star do anything right? This game is trash, fuck you! Sorry, that might have been a little harsh. They've changed with the times, but one thing has not changed. The quality of their consoles is always incredible. Almost always. Nintendo has released 7 main home consoles throughout their company's history, and they have all brought something new to the table. The Nintendo 64 introduced us to 3D, the Switch introduced us to a home console / handheld hybrid console, the GameCube introduced us to the greatest controller to ever exist, and the Wii U introduced us to depression. Yeah, the story and the gameplay are basically the same, but the controls and graphics were improved, and now there's voice acting instead of those weird bumbling noises.
Here comes a big one.
At least they tried. And yeah, that's basically it for Air Ride. Just a bunch of Kirby's racing with 2 buttons. Can't get much more simplistic than that. Except for Top Ride. The games were more interactive than ever, and motion controls really added a new feel to playing a game. From pointing, to swinging, to basically just jacking off the Wii remote let you do everything. Log's first idea is to have you compete to see who can collect as many, quote, pointless objects as possible. First off, those aren't even jiggies, but more importantly, how dare you insult the whole premise of the previous games? You say jiggies are pointless, but that's not true at all. They let you put a painting back together. What does your thing do? It just makes you look like a fat kid trying to pick up as much candy as possible at a parade. It has multiple domes that hold more stages, but they all have weird names that kind of take away from the epicness of the game. Nobody ever said to themselves, I'm so excited to go on a new adventure, let's go to the bedroom. You know what? I take that back. People have definitely said that, but context matters. Most games have at least one level that fans don't enjoy, but I've never really heard any hate for any level. Well, except for Mad Monster Mansion.
Fuck you.
Oh, fuck you too. So people Photoshop pages to look like magazines and then they take blurry pictures. It's kind of a lot like Smash Leaks actually, except these can actually be somewhat believable. So let's take a look back at some more memorable of the fake core leaks and see why the hell we actually believe them. Mega Drapion would have been great, but honestly, this design is shit. This one has everything a fan could ask for. Brand new starters and new evolutions. What more could I ask for? Maybe for the trainers not to just be redesigned versions of the Gen 5 trainers, but whatever. Oh god, I remember these like they were yesterday. Everyone believed these and videos were rampant across YouTube trying to convince you that these were real, and hey, I'll give it to them. These are very convincing. There's even more than just one image, and they even made one for the box arts. You could have maybe convinced me if the legendaries weren't just silhouettes on the covers, because that's just bad promotion. These are way too amazing to be real. Game Freak refuses to do anything cool with Zygarde. Cloud is one of my favorite protagonists ever, and you should have seen my reaction when he was revealed for Smash 4. It went a little bit something like this. It also affects other objects on the track so you can bump into them and get a little burst of speed. There's also usually one specific location that you want to use this move for, which sort of replaces the control stick spinning sections, which is great because I don't know about you, but I find it kind of hard to spin a control stick on a controller without one. I remember getting it for Christmas with my brother, turning it on, going to the main menu and just thinking, holy shit! Sonic defeats the Dark Queen and gives Merlina a flower and basically forgives her, but why? She just fucking tried to kill you and take over the kingdom. How are you fine with that? And then Sonic becomes King Arthur. Okay. Sonic returns to his world and tells Amy about it, but she doesn't believe him and tries to hit him with her hammer. Relationship goals. So, Sonic and the Black Knight? It's not a bad game, but it's also not that amazing. It's just a Sonic game with a sword, but I love that idea, even though it makes no sense. Kinda like every Sonic game. And then finally, on November 18th, 2012, the Wii U was officially released. So before we start talking about the negatives of the Wii U, let's first look at the positive side. Okay, now that that's out of the way. Even though this game was released on the Nintendo 64 when every franchise was making the jump to 3D, Yoshi returned to a very similar style of 2D platformer as Yoshi's Island. Don't get it twisted though, this game is nothing like Yoshi's Island. Except for the same character, the same game style, the same moves, the same antagonist, okay, it's pretty fucking similar. Once you collect enough Jiggies and notes, you can access the final level where you face your most difficult challenge yet. A quiz show! This is such a perfect idea for a villain like Grunty, who's so whimsical and charming. And I don't mean charming as in looks, God no. Ugh. The questions and challenges are all based around different aspects of the game, from enemy names, spelling your name backwards, and what enemy makes a certain sound. Grunty's Furnace Fun is all about the fun, except when you accidentally click something wrong on one of the instant death questions and you have to start over, son of a bitch! Kirby has some incredible themes from all of his games, and Air Ride keeps that trend rolling. Every course has a brilliant theme, but who fucking cares, because Frozen Hillside is the best piece of music in a racing game to ever exist. Fight me. I do not care. It is the best theme I have ever heard from a Kirby game, and I will not budge on this topic. Listen to it yourself if you don't believe me. Your life will be changed forever until you play City Trial, because holy shit, the music for that mode is amazing too! I just hope they can eventually take some ideas from this game and implement them into a main series Zelda game, because I just want some variety. I need a Zelda game with guns, and then I can die happy. Oh shit, never mind. But it's heavily watered down because it will straight up just tell you what you need to get past something instead of you needing to figure it out on your own. That kind of takes away all the fun of figuring out the puzzles, Team Ninja. Maybe you should have thought about that, you dumbasses. You also can point and shoot while in first person, which might make you think, doesn't that mean you could just play this whole game like Prime? Nope, the developer said f*** you and didn't allow for any nunchuck support, so you can't even move when you're in first person. They just love to give us a glimpse of greatness just to throw it in the trash and laugh at us. But hey, at least they gave us something. And it is sort of a good idea to allow you to examine objects to give a more detailed look at things, because you really can't get a lot of detail from the third person view. Plus, you can switch to first person mid-jump, which allows you to perform some amazing combos. But those are the only good things I will say about this bullshit. I just wish you didn't have to look like either Michael Jackson or Mermaid Man with no in-between. And the abilities from the other game are also back, but you need to perform actions to do them. Grinding just has you lean, Air Ride has you T-pose, and Power just has you beat the shit out of your TV. Now most of you know this already, but this console was incredible and very influential in the gaming industry. So before we dive into what really made this console so influential and so successful, let's take a second to take a look at some of the negatives it had to offer. I can deal with that. Once you have your vehicle finished, you're ready to roll and drive around these vast landscapes that the game has to offer. Yeah, this is so much fun! Yeah. What the f am I supposed to do? Maybe I missed it or something, but I swear to God, the game does not tell you what you are supposed to do once you enter a world with your vehicle. Luckily, I've played this game before, so I know what to do, but if you are a newcomer and know nothing about this game, you'd better make sure to slowly read everything, or you'll just end up driving in circles. And as much fun as that is, it's not fun, by the way. That's not why we're playing this game. We're playing this game to torture ourselves and wish we were playing the original game. Now, let's talk about the level design in these games. Galaxy wins, it's not even up for debate. Okay, I guess I should give Sunshine at least a little bit of a chance. Mario Sunshine has 7 main stages to play through, 8 if you include Corona Mountain. Every level is so much fun to play and range from water to a beach, another beach, more water, another beach. All these levels are the fucking same. What's better than reviving the ultimate Jinjo and watching him pound her over and over until he finally pegs Grunty right in her green snout and off the ledge to victory? So satisfying! Gruntilda falls all the way back down to Spiral Mountain, where I'm sure she'll be fine. Holy shit! The game then ends with Banjo and the squad resting on the beach, which is a perfect, happy ending. Oh, and they threw in a boob joke too. I love you, Rare. And finally, after like 30 minutes of game time, we are finally introduced to the main character of the game, Slippy Toad! Nah, he's a loser. Star Fox. And here's what I was talking about with the voice acting making no sense. Everyone in Star Fox speaks English, and I just don't understand why every character couldn't just speak the same language. And yes, Slippy sounds just as annoying as always.
That should be it, Rob. Go next.
The crew is sent on a mission to Dinosaur Planet by General Pepper because they are desperate for money. Who knew I could relate to a fox so well? This was supposed to be the next big thing. It added a whole new aspect to gaming by allowing you to play on 2 screens at once, and we had never seen anything like it from Nintendo before. It's literally just a tablet with control sticks. Who at Nintendo thought this should be the main controller for our core gamer audience? Have you seen the PlayStation and Xbox controllers? Those things are phenomenally designed and just fit perfectly in your hands. This is like trying to play Super Mario Bros. With a brick. You've probably never done that because it's fucking impossible. I've reached the point where I don't even know if I want a new Paper Mario game to be announced because I'm scared this might happen again. Color Splash was a step in the right direction, but since Sticker Star drugged the series into a 100-foot ditch covered by dirt on an island in the middle of the ocean, it's gonna take more than one step in the right direction to get out of the shithole that Sticker Star created. And somehow, this game is still sold for like $40. And if that isn't the biggest ripoff I've ever seen, then I don't know what is. Okay, that might be worse. I spent countless hours playing it throughout the years, and I've played it so many times and pretty much play it every year. It even got the sequel that it deserved a few years later in Banjo-Tooie. Great name, by the way. Hopefully one of these days we can finally get the Banjo 3E that we've all been waiting for. Wait. No. No! No! If you've never played this, definitely consider giving it a chance, especially since it won't really take you that much time to finish it. It is one of the happiest and brightest games you will ever see, and it will always put a smile on your face. You monsters! I might be getting a little too nitpicky here or whatever, but this entire game reminds me so much of a Zelda adventure, and that's part of what makes those games so memorable to me. And if you don't think I should compare this to Zelda games, there are literally giant bosses at the end of temples protecting special stones on a journey to save a girl trapped in a crystal. Oh yeah, but this is nothing like Zelda, right? Except for the fact that they really hammer home the fact that Fox has a boner on Crystal. But the epitome of what I am talking about with the Wii U comes directly in its launch title. Boost mode? Who the fuck asked for this? This was added to allow a 5th player to play by adding platforms by tapping the gamepad. Why not just add a 5th playable character? This makes the game way too easy, and it was already easy as shit. A launch title should help show what makes the system unique from others. But this is just New Super Mario Bros. Wii in HD, and you can still play it with a Wii remote, but oh my god, it's so crazy because now you can touch a screen to make platforms appear. Holy shit, Nintendo, this was stupid. These leaks will tell you everything you want to know, but just make sure you always take them with a grain of salt. The general gameplay will be very different compared to the previous Pokemon games, which will be real-time combat similar to the spin-off Pokemon Tournament DX. You really think they're going to change the main aspect of their main Pokemon games? Fuck out of here. Kanto was broken up into islands. They just did islands. Are you stupid? Some of the Italian leakers rumors were true. No, they weren't. 50 new Mega Evolutions? You know how to get some attention with a bullshit claim like that. Go ahead and dismiss what I've told you as false. You will all be sorry once you hear the news. It's been 3.5 years since this post. I'm still waiting on the news. You need to destroy all of Gretti's vehicles, and if you're lucky enough, you can get this incredible camera angle. After you destroy them all, you finally get to have a one-on-one battle like the good old day. Oh, fuck you! The Lord of No Fun stops us from having any kind of classic battle and crowns Banjo the winner of this whole competition or whatever the hell the plot of this game is. Do you care about the plot? Because I don't care. More franchises need to go out on a limb and take a chance like this. It worked for Mario, it worked for Zelda, and in my eyes, it worked phenomenally for Star Fox. And it doesn't hurt to add a sexy fox for all the lonely gamers and furries to stare at.
What am I doing?
Peppy here! Fuck you, Peppy. And although some people might complain about the controls, I've never had any problems with them, especially since you had to use the Wii Motion Plus. You know, that tiny block that made the Wii Remote do what it actually was supposed to do in the first place. The entire game is played so differently from every other game just by simply giving Mario a Super Soaker and taking away his long jumps. I really want to see the meeting where the developers sat together trying to come up with new ideas for a game and someone just ran in like, I got it! Most of the changes that they made to Zero Gravity were great additions, and they just made every fan want a third game to complete this fantastic trilogy. And the Sonic team answered and gave us all the game that we asked for, but not the game that we wanted. Oh yeah, you know where I'm going with this. Sonic Free Riders was released on November 4th, 2010 exclusively on the Xbox 360. Why was it only released on the Xbox instead of the Wii and PlayStation, you may ask? To that, I have a very simple answer. I want to die! I immediately played through the other two houses and Black Eagles again to see all the different paths, and it was all so much fun. Getting to be a teacher in an academy for knights is so awesome, and every student is so quirky and fun to talk to. Except Lawrence, cause f*** him. It looks like they've learned from their mistakes, and they are moving forward with potentially the greatest Nintendo console of all time. We've come a long way from this to this. Huh. Leaks and rumors are just a part of the Pokemon community at this point, and they are here to stay. Just be sure to be on your toes this time of year, because as the countdown to Pokemon Sword and Shields continues, the leaks and rumors are going to continue as well. Holy shit, I can't wait for Gen 8! So many people have been advocating for remakes of Mario Sunshine, Metroid Prime, or games like that, but I think we're all overlooking the clear best choice for a remake. Kirby Air Ride deserves a sequel, or a remake at the very least. Unless you want to count Smash Run and Smash 3DS, since it was made by the same creator and it was based on the mode, so it's almost the same thing. We're never getting a remake, are we? Well, at least we'll always have the original where we can watch Kirby ride things, suck enemies, and beat off other people. Wait. I've wanted a Banjo 3 ever since I finished Banjo Tooie with my brother when I was like 5 years old. And to see this? I don't know if I'll ever recover. Wait, that's right. Banjo is coming to Smash! And he looks like his N64 design! Fuck this game! Banjo is back! I wouldn't have wanted them to not use the Wii Remote. I just think it would have been better if maybe it was rounded at the ends to make it more comfortable to use. But to be fair, that would maybe make the remote look kinda like a dildo, so maybe it was for the best because I would hate for a gaming company to do that. Oh shit. We can all disagree on which game is better, but there is one thing we can always agree on, and that's that the A in the Super Mario Galaxy logo is one of the stupidest design choices I have ever seen. In fact, I'm tempted to almost give Super Mario Sunshine the win just for that alone because I think it's so stupid, but Galaxy is such a big lead that I don't think it's even possible for Sunshine to make a comeback. I guess as the kids say, hoes mad. This game was just such a huge disappointment and I just wish I could erase it from my memory. Especially Adam. God, I can't stand him. But hey, at least I have a fun fact about him. Did you know that Adam Malkovich's name backwards is Hikivaklam Mata? Which makes no fucking sense, just like the rest of this game. The chapters all feel distinctly different with new challenges and areas to explore that make you feel like you're really traversing this grand world. I mean, come on. A WWE wrestling arena floating in the sky where you need to become champion for just the third chapter of the whole game? I don't know how the f they came up with that idea, but I love them for it. Even Rogueport, as much of a rundown shithole that it is, has so much charm and is my favorite hub of any Paper Mario game. And what really makes this game stand out are the characters and just the writing. Every partner is so unique and adds something that we've never seen before. We have 2 depressed dudes who yearn for adventure, a baby Yoshi who just wants to beat everyone up, and 4 non-human women who want to f*** Mario. God, this game is weird. If you've never played these games, definitely give them a chance. You won't regret it, and Sonic Free Riders can at least give you a bit of a workout. It really can help you with pretty much any active thing you need. I personally am using it as a dance trainer. Smash Ultimate's DLC fighters have been way more hyped up and way more exciting than Smash 4's DLC fighters, and I really hope they can keep that up. These reveals always bring the community together, and let's just hope that we can get an amazing reveal sometime in the near future, because I think we are all waiting for something to just completely blow our minds. Alright, I cannot wait to see what Sakurai has in store for us this time. Better be something good. No way. It can't be. What the